Hey everybody, how you guys doing today? My name is Nick, otherwise known here as Avialence, and I'm sorry for the raspy voice. Allergies are just deciding to kick in, and it's just killing me. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about my journey so far in ESO. I've gotten to level 30 at this point, and I've really enjoyed my time playing the game, but there's a couple things that I want to touch on, and I've pulled some of these from questions you guys have actually left on my ESO YouTube videos so far, so I figure this will provide for a pretty interesting discussion. So moving on that, let's talk about one thing. So many comments I've gotten, and I've seen on other people's videos that I watch as well. You also see this in YouTube too, which is quite surprising, is that people are calling this game a WoW clone. You know, you knew this would happen, and that's something that I knew would happen. I was just waiting for it to start coming, because everyone's saying it's a piece of crap MMO for Elder Scrolls. And what I wanted to touch on here is that that's what I thought at first too, right? I played the alpha and the beta for a year before I picked up this game. When it first came out, you know, the alpha test, it was rough. A lot of work needed to be done. And this is around the time of summer last year. So summer 2013, there's a lot of work that needed to be done. And you guys know that I went on a few tangents. Not here on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it was just on Twitch. It could be here on YouTube. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. But I went on a couple tangents really going at the game because I'm a big Skyrim fan. I've logged hundreds of hours in Skyrim, Oblivion, and Morrowind. I've even played Daggerfall and Arena and the mobile games too. I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan. And when it came down to ESO, there was a lot of stuff that was missing in the alpha and then in the beta. Now, I played the most recent beta before the game came out in January and then the one in late February. And my opinion drastically changed. The reason being is I actually started to look at the game as something unique, different, and then also dive into the game and how much it has to offer. And I think the skill set here is really what comes into play, right? It does have the Elder Scrolls combat system, the hold left mouse to attack and charge, the right mouse to block, and you know, the interruptions and everything. And at first, the first 10 or so levels in this game, you really don't realize the potential of that system, right? The combat system, especially in PvP, and that's something I haven't played, and I'm actually going to be releasing a discussion on later this week. But when it comes down to it, the combat system's different and unique. It's all about reactionary timing. Sure, there's some input lag, because it is an MMO, right? And that does affect some of those key battles, I suppose. It's only happened to be once where a guy beat me because I lagged a bit. But when it comes down to it, the combat system in this game is truly different. It is not World of Warcraft. I don't have 50 bajillion hotkeys all over my screen that I have to worry about pushing at exact cues. I can handle different situations in different ways. The weapon swapping, too, takes from Guild Wars, and I think that was a smart decision because it allows me to carry a two-handed and then a bow and arrow. I know it's not like having your hotbar or your quick slot items in Elder Scrolls like Skyrim or Oblivion, but it's still nice on the aspect of it gives you options. It gives you a lot of options. You know, I've seen, I personally roll with bow and two-handed. That's what I do. Bow and two-handed has been great for me. It's the build I'm working on. But as I'm doing that build, I'm also spending points in other trees. I picked a Nightblade, so I'm going into the siphoning tree. And the siphoning is all about taking health from your enemies, right? And giving it to you and your teammates. And I didn't really use this tree too much. I had planned on using the ultimate, but I actually swapped over to the werewolf ultimate because the werewolf ultimate's great. But I'm really just changing my build as I'm playing, and it's honestly extremely satisfying. The fact that I can also reallocate points, it is expensive, but I can reallocate all my attributes and all of my skill points for a hefty fee. I believe it's 100 gold per skill point, and then 100 gold per attribute. So it really gets up the higher, you know, your level is. But the thing that's awesome about that is I can get to veteran rank 1, level 50, and then say, okay, well, I want to do a destruction staff siphoning caster with dual weld as my secondary, and I can spend the money and do that. And that totally changes my character and my playstyle. And the other thing too is with these skill points, you know, you have the whole crafting system. I've put a lot of skill points into my clothier and then my woodworking for bows and then medium armor, and I'm amazed at the amount of stuff in here. I mean, I spent literally, guys, 13 hours in Cyrodiil, and that's a video that I'm going to be releasing separately. In one day, I spent 13 hours in Cyrodiil with a group of 15 to 20 guildies. We did PvP for like 4 or 5 hours, and then we also went in and did PvE in Cyrodiil. Went to Bruma, Bravil, all these places, Chayton Hall, I mean, they all exist in this time period. They're just getting started, however. So it's really cool to go and actually see these things. And if you've played Skyrim, more so Oblivion and Morrowind, I would argue, but if you've played Oblivion and Morrowind and you're going into these zones, there's memories. You're playing in a time period that's a couple thousand years. It's the second era compared to the third and fourth era, right? And those are what we're used to. So it's awesome to go back in history and see these things. And, you know, I think a lot of people are calling it a WoW clone or an MMO-focused game instead of Elder Scrolls because they're playing it that way, right? My buddy is level 50. He's veteran rank 1. I have a ton of people who are level 50 already, but all they did is grind and spacebar through all the quests. Now, I'm listening to all the quests. I'm participating in all the dialogue, and I don't really read all the books, although I'm waiting for a Mages Guild perk so I can start collecting books, right? You have to complete a quest in the Mages Guild in order to get access to it. But the idea that I can do all these things and I have so much more to do, it blows my mind. It progresses like an MMO. You go zone to zone, but you also have dungeons to do. You have PvP to participate in, which is amazing. It is like a buffed up, more, I guess, structured version of Guild Wars 2's PvP system. So I love it. And then the PvE in Cyrodiil, like I said, I literally spent almost 13 hours in Cyrodiil in one day, and I have so much more to do. It's just wild the amount of detail and depth that's put into this game, and a lot of people are getting it, looking at it, playing up to a certain level. For example, I went to 15 in the beta, and, you know, when it came to 15, I experienced the quest in a dungeon. Like, I spent a lot of time playing beta and a lot of time playing alpha, but I didn't experience half the stuff that makes this game absolutely worth it. So, you know, for those of you who are worried about the game being a WoW clone, I can assure you that it's not. I mean, in essence, World of Warcraft created the MMO as far as like the modern term of it goes, right? World of Warcraft's a very successful game, and I know a lot of people are going on and on and on about how this isn't worth the $15 a month and blah, 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 but honestly, the amount of content in this game and the fact that I've already played for 3.5 days goes to show that my $15 plus the $100 I pay for that collector's edition are well worth my first month of play, because I'm not even halfway into April and I've already put 3 days into this game. That is way more than I spent on Titanfall. I think that's triple the time I spent on Titanfall. That's double the time I spent on Battlefield, and that's roughly 1/3 of the time I've played Skyrim, so to speak. So, I mean, it adds up, guys. I mean, it really, really does add up. And I am sure that I'll be playing way more. And now that I'm thinking about it, that is definitely not 1/3 of Skyrim. Maybe 1/10 of Skyrim, because I was like, why am I thinking 24 hours in a day? Yeah, no. Probably 1/60th of the time, 60th of the time I've spent in Skyrim. But the idea here is I'm having fun, I'm enjoying the game, and the fact that the community is so great is something that's awesome. The boss fights are challenging. I love the soul resurrection system. This time I was actually helping a few guildies out with the boss, so it was pretty easy. But I'm watching players on Twitch get into this veteran content, and they are having a difficult time with it. But it's not like World of Warcraft, where it's like I messed up a skill or I messed up one button during a certain thing, and ba-boom, it's instantly over, right? And you just get frustrated with that because it's like mathematics. With Elder Scrolls, it's about your movement and your strategy. Tanking doesn't work as it does in this previous games in this game, and you know, healing doesn't do the same thing. It's so refreshing, and I honestly can't get enough of it. So if you haven't played ESO yet, definitely give it a shot. Feel free to add me at Avialence. It's just as like it is here on my YouTube, and I'd love to get into the game with you, talk a little bit about the game, and possibly do some dungeons and stuff. I'm in a guild called the 500. I'm having a great time with it. We're based off of the Companions of Ysgramor, the original 500, you know, which is great, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So if you guys have any questions about the experience or want to see anything particular, feel free to drop a comment on this video. And if you enjoyed this discussion, please participate in the comments below, and feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. My name is Nick, otherwise known here as Avialence, guys, and thank you so much for watching.